Hey everyone, this is a significant update to my Wattlock Vex build. I had to go through an important skill tree change and one small but very impactful gear update. Whereas before I did not recommend the energy disc underbarrels because they were working in questionable ways, now after they're fixed they're just really damn good in this setup, possibly a bit too good. The original playstyle with the default main shot of the stallions is still here and used a lot. But if you want the maximum bossing damage, you want to be using the energy discs for that. Either way, both options work, and if you find the energy discs too strong for your liking, nothing changed about the previous gameplay loop, and it can be used all the same. We will still work around avoiding and minimizing the prismatic ichor bugs and design flaws. Right now on screen you can see a breakdown of how prismatic ichor works. Thank you to Girthquake and Buckets for making sense of and properly testing it. Reading through that, you can notice that using a corrosive base for our ichor proc results in the theoretical best ichor dots, because of the longer duration being condensed as higher damage in those 5 seconds of ichor. That's the general gameplay philosophy we'll be applying here, though you will still want to match elements sometimes, especially against enemies that are of 1 health bar type only, like Aurigo. If more information like that interests you, consider joining the Soup Kitchen Discord server to see things unfold, or even contribute yourself to it. I also post my save games there, and on the linked mobalytics guides. Infusion is the other main addition to the setup. It gives us another base source to apply dots from, and we can pick the element it will use by simply having the desired element in hand when we use a rep kit. This allows us to better element match against enemies and even combat the ichor RNG a bit. I should also mention we have a dot guide. The dot man himself, Girthquake, posted an excellent guide to BL4 damage over time and statuses on mobalytics. There you can find complete breakdowns of how those work in the game and how you can scale them. Knowing more about dots will help you better understand not just this build, but many others. Links will be below. Let's move on to our skill trees. The current skill tree setup has the option of using either Dead Ringer or Phase Familiar, with Dead Ringer being quite simply better, since Reapers are better taunt pets for mobbing than Trouble. A single Reaper has around triple the health value of Trouble, while also having an innate taunt that is better than Hex's Nexus. And of course, Spectres provide crit chance through Coven. In Blue Tree, we get Idle Hands for the smoother reloads, Sanguine Fiends just to move down the tree, Portents of Suffering for the easy boost to our status damage. The combo of Blood Sacrifice and Grave Fiends is nice, but mainly for mobbing. However, it will occasionally get its bossing uses, especially when using Spectres, since they drain pretty fast. Prismatic Ichor is one of our true main skills and is the strongest one, or at least the one with the highest potential by far. Through its inner workings and our class mods, we can boost it a lot and it will create some really nasty dots. Finally, Keen Suffering gives our dots baseline access to critical hits. If you intend to use Dead Ringer, you should use Coven as an augment. Reapers are excellent for mobbing due to the aggro relief and health regen, while Spectres provide the most potential for bossing damage. In Red Tree, we get Hasty Fiends for the nice utility. You can then pick any mix of skills you prefer going down the tree. I like Grave Sustenance for Phase Familiar uptime since I like having Trouble around sometimes and I swap action skills for it. The rest go in Overprotective. Vorpal Fiends is a significant damage boost to our dot crits. We then grab Shocking Attunement to reach the next tier for Infusion, our second main skill. Through Infusion we can choose an element to gain it as 40% bonus damage, which will apply its own dot. This lets us double down on elemental weaknesses or even better prepare against multiple types of health bars by infusing a different element than the base we intend to use. If you'd like to use Trouble with Phase Familiar, you should use the Unsealed Capstone alongside the Hex's Nexus augment for some nice aggro relief. For our specializations, the one must have here is the best defense, since it will boost our dots. Unfortunately, on-hit gun damage does not boost gun dots, and since neither Ichor nor Infusion are considered skill damage, we can't really benefit from those specializations either. We don't need status chance from Contamination since we have guaranteed dots through Prime Potency. However, it can be an okay choice due to how Prime Potency can lose its properties when the projectile pierces then travels for a long time, or ricochets and travels for a long time. Compounding Afflictions can be alright, but it currently does not work correctly or as one expects. In the zones, crit damage works on dots, meaning you can keep ADSing while the dots are going on and benefit from the boost, but it's up to you if you want to play like that, so you kind of have free reign with your specialization slots. I generally use the best defense, now with caffeine, bullet train because I like being able to sprint while shooting, and compounding afflictions. Dump all your excess specialization points in killer since that provides us a double boost to our dots through the status damage and crit damage. Moving on to the gear. For weapons, you want stelliums, as many flavors as you can find. The Targ licensed ones have the potentially highest base damages, which also means bigger dots. The energy disc underbarrel is extremely powerful, but those are also optional if you don't like how strong they are. Without the energy disc, you gain access to the Mala-1 licensed element switch, and also potentially a bit higher dot damage overall. However, that higher damage will not match the potential dots of the energy discs. The Jacob's part on these weapons can cause the main shot to ricochet on a boss and hit the ground nearly immediately, meaning that also works with prime potency and can potentially apply a third dot on a single shot if it hits the ground quick enough. Alongside the stelliums, you can bring your preference of long range or strong underbarrel or even TDR reloads, anything that helps during fight for your life and the shorter range of the stelliums. I don't think you should be getting down much in this, but self-damage can be a bit of a danger sometimes. For rep kit, triple bypass with imp is the best general use rep kit. Specifically for bossing though, you can think about a purple order rep kit with imp and then rage or elemental damage. For ordnance, crit knife is our main choice for bossing due to the crit chance boost. For any other content, you can run any ordnance you like. My personal preference is Sleepy or even Firepot or even Scully's pretty okay right now. Just keep in mind that elemental grenades can also trigger prismatic ichor and essentially rob it from your gun dot if you're not careful. As for class mods, the purple rarity Alchemist class mod definitely has the strongest potential out of the options we have access to. Look for as many points in prismatic ichor as you can find. In practice, prismatic ichor and infusion are the closest thing we have to multipliers on our damage for this setup, and boosting ichor further makes it create dots with quite insane values due to the unique scaling. Avatar with as many points in burning attunement as you can find is a decent legendary option. The crit damage from burning attunement works on dots as long as you hold a fire weapon, meaning you can swap to fire after applying your dots and go through all the different attunements you have to further boost the damage through the class mod's passive 20% all damage per active attunement. For the class mod stat rolls, look for status damage, elemental damage, damage dealt, and any other utility stat. For shield, the Guardian Angel with 150% amp is the best in slot general shield for us, due to the fast recharge and delay. The Watts for Dinner also works, but due to its much longer recharge times, it feels worse to work around. Protean Cell is a very strong bossing option. The bonus shock will create its own dot, but it will also apply to each of our other dots, making it a very potent overall damage boost that also handles any shield bar easily, allowing you to completely focus your base damage and infusion on corrosive and other elements. For enhancement, Prime Potency is the required enhancement effect here. For mobbing, a Prime Potency plus Transfuser version is also nice, but not an absolute requirement. It's just fun. The purple versions are very strong due to the third stat roll. And speaking of stat rolls, look for gun and shotgun damage, which are very important. They're on-shot boosts that affect our gun's dots, unlike the other type of gun damage in the game. Other useful rolls include gun or shotgun equip speed, which also boost mode switch speed and make gameplay much smoother. Gun status damage is also an okay roll. In terms of firmware, Tier 3 high caliber lets us shoot through an enemy to apply double dots to it with our Stellium's main shot. While the energy discs don't seem to benefit from this, I still like having this firmware because I do use my main shots a lot. Tier 1 God Killer is just additive soup, however there's not much else of value left that also boosts dots. Tier 1 Airstrike is a decent boost to consistency, helping ensure our splash damage hits enemies and applies the dots. If you'd prefer to purely boost the energy discs to the max for something like boss speed kills, you could run Tier 3 Dadio alongside Tier 2 High Caliber. Both of the gun damages on these are on-shot boosts and will affect gun dots, including the energy discs. This does cost you the piercing from High Caliber on your main shots though. As before, the gameplay loop consists of shoot reloading stelliums to make use of the prime potency enhancement. However, this enhancement effect also works on the energy discs. Not only will the discs apply dots on every bounce, with the first also triggering Ichor, you also don't need to reload to fire the next disc because the enhancement effect will still be on since you never shot the actual first bullet from the stellium, only the disc under barrel. Through prime potency, we will get a dot from our base damage, which will also trigger an Ichor dot. Following that, we get an infusion dot. If you want to further add to it, Protean Cell also gets its own dot and it also applies its bonus shock to each of our dots. Generally, you want to use a corrosive stellium as base to maximize Ichor potential. However, that is far from a strict rule, due to the fact you might face health bars that are one type only, like Aurigo. Also remember, through infusion you can, well, infuse any element you wish on your gun for 15 seconds. This means you can infuse shock, then swap back to your corrosive stellium. This is a way to better match against multiple health bar types. It's kind of an unnecessary thing at the current stage of the game, but I'm letting you know since it is a part of the mechanical depth available to the build. Mobbing is very straightforward. I recommend using Reapers or Trouble, so you don't run into issues where Spectres steal your Ichor procs all the time. Shoot reload your stellium enemies to get those dots doing the killing. Use your rep kit every now and then for infusion, and also for amp when facing stronger enemies. For bossing, you can still use any minion you prefer. For max damage, however, there's no avoiding Spectres with Coven. Reapers and Trouble will steal Ichor procs much less frequently than Spectres. You can pretty much use them like you would at any time. Spectres, however, can easily steal Ichor procs from you. If using them, you need to prepare around that. It's easier than it sounds once you understand it. This simply means that whenever we use Spectres for bossing, we should try to do one of the following. Summon them out of the boss arena or out of sight, or be quick enough to trigger our Ichor before they can steal it. Feel free to ask any questions below. Also, consider checking out the links for the most up-to-date version of things. Have a nice day, and thank you for watching.
Yes, hey. Rip.